Hello Petersham kids, welcome to Kids Connect. We are so excited that you are able to join us today for Kids Connect. Petersham Kids is an amazing kids program filled with lots of fun and amazing God moments. I can't wait for you to see what we have planned for you today, so let's jump into it.
Hi Petersham kids, I'm Shannon, one of the kids leaders here. Oh wow, a present! Let's have a look and see what's inside. Lollies! I love lollies. Do you think it would be wise for me to eat them all at once? Maybe not. Last episode, we learnt about 3 different spiritual gifts. And this week, we're going to learn about 3 more spiritual gifts. They're prophecy, discernment, and wisdom. And now we have an experiment by Professor LORRIE. Let's go!
Hey kids, I've got a pretty fun experiment that we're going to do. But first of all, I want you to have a look about what I have and think about what type of experiment I could be doing. So I have a candle, I have some matches, red food colouring, a plate, some water and a jar. What do you think I could be doing today? Okay, well, let's see what I have. So first of all, I'm going to put a little bit of water in this plate. Whoa. Try not to spill it everywhere, but I think right now I got a little bit out, so that's okay. Next thing is I'm going to put this candle right in the middle of the plate, and I'm going to light it up. Now, if you want to do this thing at home, which you could, a lot of these things are pretty available at home, I would get your parents to help you with this section of lighting the candle. So that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to light up this candle. Now we've got that, I'm going to add a little bit of food colouring to the water just to make it look red. It's not really needed, but it's kind of going to make it a little bit easier to see. We've now got some pretty cool red water underneath the candle. Okay, so now that's done, this is the fun part. So I'm going to get my jar and I'm going to put it over the candle and let's see what happens. Can you see the water coming all the way up into the jar? Isn't that pretty cool? So what's happening here, and we eventually get the candle being turned off, is the candle's using up a lot of the air inside, and that causes the water to come up inside that jar. Now, remember I told you, could you guess what would happen in this experiment? I think it's pretty hard when you just look at the things I have to try to think about what I'm actually going to do. And you know that's a bit the same in life. I can try to guess what's going to happen in a week, in a month, in a year. It can be really hard to guess. Now, one of the gifts that we're going to talk about today is prophecy. And with prophecy, it's about not trying, I guess, but it's about God telling you what is going to happen in the future. And because ourselves, it's going to be really hard to figure out, in the year, this is what's going to happen, but God can tell you that. And some people are blessed with that gift, that God tells them all the time what might happen in their lives, in someone else's life. We also will talk about a few more gifts. We talk about wisdom and discernment. Now, wisdom's a little bit different. It's about the present and try to think about what is the best thing to do in that situation. Discernment is about knowing what's right and what's wrong. And all these 3 things, prophecy, wisdom, and discernment, are gifts from God that He gives us. Now, I have a Bible verse for you. It says, "Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows." James chapter 1, verse 17. All of these gifts can come from God, and they're all really special and all fairly different. Maybe we won't know what's going to happen in the future, in a week, in a year, just like we couldn't know what was going to happen in this experiment, but God does. And he can tell us on different people through prophecy. And he can also give us other gifts like wisdom and discernment that can all be really special in our lives and other people's lives.
Wow, wasn't that an amazing experiment? Now we're going to hear an amazing Bible story which teaches us about those spiritual gifts.
1 Kings chapter 3 verses 1 to 15. Solomon made an agreement with the king of Egypt by marrying his daughter. Solomon brought her to Jerusalem. At this time, Solomon was still building his palace and the temple of the Lord. He was also building a wall around Jerusalem. The temple had not yet been finished, so people were still offering animal sacrifices at altars in many places of worship. Solomon showed that he loved the Lord. He did this by following the commands his father David had given him. But Solomon still used the many places of worship to offer sacrifices and to burn incense. King Solomon went to Gibeon to offer a sacrifice. He went there because it was the most important place of worship. He offered 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar. While he was at Gibeon, the Lord came to him in a dream during the night. God said, "Ask for anything you want, I will give it to you." Solomon answered, "You were very kind to your servant, my father David. He obeyed you. He was honest and lived right, and you showed great kindness to him when you allowed his son to be king after him. Lord my God, you have allowed me to be king in my father's place. But I am like a little child. I do not have wisdom. I need to do what I must do. I, your servant, am here among your chosen people. There are too many of them to count, so I ask that you give me wisdom. Then I can rule the people in the right way. Then I will know the difference between right and wrong. Without wisdom, it is impossible to rule this great people of yours." The Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked him for this, so God said to him, "You did not ask for a long life, and you did not ask for riches for yourself. You did not ask for the death of your enemies. Since you asked for wisdom to make the right decisions, I will give you what you asked. I will give you wisdom and understanding. Your wisdom will be greater than anyone has had in the past, and there will never be anyone in the future like you. Also, I will give you what you did not ask for. You will have riches and honor. During your life, no other king will be as great as you. I ask you to follow me and obey my laws and commands. Do this as your father David did. If you do, I will give you a long life." Then Solomon woke up. He knew that God had talked to him in his dream. Then he went to Jerusalem and stood before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. There he gave burnt offerings and fellowship offerings to the Lord. After that, he gave a feast for all his leaders and officers.
Petersham kids, how amazing was that play? How cool was that Bible story? There are two main points that I want you to take home from today's episode. The first point is that God gives different spiritual gifts to different people. You see, boys and girls, as we get to know God and as we build our relationship with Him, He will start revealing different gifts to us, different gifts that He's given us. In the story, we hear about how King Solomon asked God for the gift of wisdom, and God gave that to him. God gave King Solomon wisdom and discernment to make the right choices, to make wise decisions. He can give that to you too. You know, with the different gifts, it's just like a present. Just imagine your parents give you a beautiful Christmas present. Are you going to leave that present under your bed and not use it? No, of course not. You are going to open up that present and use it. That's the same with spiritual gifts. God has given you spiritual gifts. He wants you to ask Him, how can you use your spiritual gift to glorify Him? And the second point is wisdom, discernment, and prophecy. These are three other spiritual gifts that the Bible talks about. King Solomon had great wisdom. He used his wisdom and discernment to make right choices. Remember this? This will help us remember how he was a king that was amazing, that God blessed him with this gift. And prophecy. You see, boys and girls, do you remember the experiment? Do you remember how we didn't know what the result was going to be at the beginning of the experiment? But at the end, everything happened and then we knew. You see, that's like God. God already knows your future. He already knows what's going to happen at the end. And all we need to do is trust in him that he will lead us there. And sometimes he might give you a prophetic word. He might tell someone a prophetic word to share with you. These are all amazing gifts that God can give to us if we believe and trust in him.
Thank you, Petersham Kids, for joining us today for Kids Connect. Now, parents, if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, Kids Connect. And if you want to see what the rest of the church is up to, please subscribe to Petersham Online. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Have a great day.